Basically, all my life, we went to church every Sunday, no matter what. I was okay with it, but I didn't typically care for it. Young age, I was even an altar boy, but I would just soon sleep as much as I could, hoping mom and dad wouldn't actually come and wake me up and go to church. But no matter what, we pretty much went to church all the time. Liked it a fair amount, but never really felt a social connection there. So just over the years, just really didn't like going to church. Just never really liked the antisocial aspect. There'd be functions outside of church, but not a whole lot to actually keep me interested in going. And of course, I was young, and probably about 10, 11 years old, I actually had a picture of Jesus in my room. I remember sitting there at night saying, God, if you're real, move that picture, move something in my room, something silly and mystical like that. Even though nothing moved, it didn't really affect my thoughts or judgments like that. So for me, I had to have something a little more concrete, something more real, some evidence. And so just later in life, I would see things throughout the world and I would hope there is a God. I would expect there's a God, but I couldn't really say, hey, I believe wholeheartedly, other than just people saying you have to have faith. And faith's one thing, but that's something that people tell you to have, and for you to have it yourself is different. And true concrete belief for me is what I needed. I couldn't just have faith. So I always thought analytically and just really tried to deconstruct everything I was taught or thought or was told to think. She was very similar to me about the way she thought, whether it be scientifically or literally or whatever. Just over the years, I saw her change. She started attending a particular church, and we went to that church, and I kind of got involved in that a little bit. But then I would still be like, I don't get it. How did you go from one extreme to the other extreme? I would talk to her from time to time. We didn't get in really in-depth detail, but she would just be stuff like, I just went to church, started listening, learning, reading the Bible, stuff like that. And I remember we were actually sitting in the kitchen. I remember plain as day, and she would tell me that, and I'm like, that doesn't tell me anything, and I don't see how reading or listening or going to church is going to help me any. And so obviously still had doubts but kept an open mind. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't care what church it was. I don't even remember why we went to Live Point. I think someone told Angie you ought to go. We went, and I'd walk in the foyer, and people would talk to me that would barely know me. People just seem to be like-minded and open and friendly without actually trying to recruit you. Actually started to like to go and like to listen. When Pastor Kelly showed the video of Penn Jillette receiving a Bible as a gift after one of his shows, just really kind of opened my eyes to where I'm like, wow, this church is really cool. The ability for him to show that video in church, and the video of Penn getting a gift of a Bible and really rethinking Christianity and thinking how awesome this is that this person is that devout and have that much belief. From that point on, I think I went almost every Sunday, maybe missed one or two in a 3 or 4 month period. And then as time went on, got to know more people. Now I go every Sunday. Now I actually look forward to it. And then the biggest step for me was going to the movie God's Not Dead. My wife wanted to go, wanted to take the kids. And I thought, well, I don't mind going to any type of movie, and I don't really know much about the movie, but I knew the point behind it. And I thought, well, I'm going to go here, and now I'm completely open-minded, and it's a theatrical movie, and they're going to show their point of view, but I'm going to actually be as open as possible. And I went in saying, prove me wrong. They just filled in all the gaps for me, whereas the beginning of life and evolution and why is there evil. And even though it was a movie, it completely made sense to me, because they would take enough of science, philosophy, and the Bible, and the way they showed it to where they blended all three, the gaps from one and the other, the way they filled those gaps in my mind just gave me evident proof to me, the proof that I needed. I walked out not really feeling a whole lot, just kind of thought, that's pretty cool. Well, I liked that, I got a lot out of it, but nothing really hit me hard. As time went on, it was probably a day or two later, it hit me like a sledgehammer. All of a sudden, I would just have this elated feeling, and I didn't really want my wife to know, just because I am kind of emotional, but I hide my emotions best I can. She would go to bed early. I would go in a different room and just cry uncontrollably. And I would sit there and be like, what is wrong with me? And I'm like, happy. And it was just the weirdest, wildest, craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I did that for 3 days. And every time I'd be like, what is wrong with me? Everybody gets kind of teary-eyed when they watch a movie or something good happens. but they're not blubbering idiots in a different room for 3 days. So for me, it just, I guess I just finally felt it all, and it just all made sense. And it was more for me like, I always wanted there to be a God, and now for me, I know, and now it just all makes sense, and all of this, all the world, everything in my sight makes sense, and now I make sense, and now I feel like I belong. You know, I look at things differently now. I depend on people more. For myself, I would typically not. I would just be solo and do things on my own. And if I needed help, I would just struggle through doing my own. Everyday life seems different to where I just see things differently now. And my name is Paul, and God changed my life.